Radio. Welcome to the INJIL 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 Radio.
Hi, Salam Alaikum. Sisters and brothers, Sulaiman Rahim here, the judge, messenger of the covenant, breaker of the seven seals, crusher, Sulaiman. One second here, brothers and sisters. Part 3, famine, great tribulation. 13-part series, brothers and sisters. The apocalypse, covering the whole range of the apocalypse, which Armageddon is properly Armageddon, is just one battle. I know Farrakhan is telling you all Armageddon, his Armageddon's already started. Well, it has not. Maybe his Armageddon, whatever he thinks his Armageddon is. So they mentioned one time in the scriptures, that's in Revelations. He has no clue what that means. No clue what that means. No clue, unless he's broke the seven seals. Because if you haven't broken the seven seals, you're just pulling crap out your behind, because it tells you, no one in heavens or earth, no one in heavens or earth or on earth could break those seals, but one individual, they couldn't break seals, couldn't even look at it, couldn't get any information out of it. It was totally sealed. So unless Farrakhan's broken those seals, he had no idea what he's talking about. And he's going, well, Armageddon's already. Well, let's unpack this, brothers and sisters. Now, his Armageddon's already started. Because, I mean, people have been saying that for over a year. He has Johnny come late. All of a sudden, since February, January, Armageddon's already started. Wait a minute. Mr. Prophet, you're supposed to tell us in advance, right? But your statement is it's already started. So that means you didn't see it coming. Because if you didn't see it coming, then why are you telling anybody? He's probably the watchman, go tell people before it happened. So you say, oh, it has already started. That means you didn't see it coming. And if you didn't, then you didn't do your job because you didn't tell anybody. Because when you told them, this already started. Like, oh, the hurricane is here. Wait a minute. We can see it's here. If it is here, we don't need the weatherman tell us that. He always tells us, hey, the hurricane's on the way. What you need to do about it, get some details. But Pharaoh can say, oh, I'm going to get it started. Oh, what? Okay, say it. Okay. And he says the war is all war. I mean, it's a great war that's going to destroy 2/3 of the earth and all that. I mean, it's going to be a great war, atomic war. I mean, his idea of Armageddon is going to destroy everything. The great war is going to all wars because that's his idea of Armageddon. Nuclear war and everything, whole 9 yards, right? So if he tells us already started, then how do you know when they're going to start dropping the bombs? If it's already started, how do you know there could be a nuclear attack here today or tomorrow? How do you know? He says already started, so I mean anything could happen. But he's not telling you that, is he? He's not telling you what to prepare, what to do. He said, oh, just believe in him. Just stay forlorn to him, and maybe even pray. I mean, is that? It's worth. Problem, sisters, you know, it's not even worth even talking about actually, because it already started. This is the great war is going to end all wars. Nuclear war in the whole 9 yards, right? Then, if it's already started, that means bombs could be dropping any minute. Nuclear bombs could be going up any minute. But why ain't he talking about that? Why ain't he tell you what he should be doing? I mean, the war's already started, right? And the house already on fire, right? He went, oh, the house is on fire, right? But that's it. Well, if it's on fire, I mean, what do it do? I mean, it's on fire, it means flames, it's hot. People, you know, if you're in there, you get burned up and everything. So it's already started, and this is going to be the war in all wars. Why isn't that telling you what to do? I mean, I tell you the facts. So who's going to hit what verse? Where should go over here? Should do that. What? You see what I'm saying? Think about it. If you have the ability to think. Because he took the ability to think away from, you know, that's the whole story about Peter, right? He said Peter, right? So you say these people, but you don't look and go and see what these people did. What did Peter do? As fast as Jesus put the open ears, he was cutting them off. And that's what he did. Elijah Muhammad gave you ears to hear, and he fire came right behind him. Cut them off. Devil ain't devil no more. Demons are some spooks and spirits. We're going to bring devils into eye. We ain't going nowhere. Everything totally against. And then they go against Elijah Muhammad taught. And then they got nerve enough to say, that's not nerve. That's not even nerve. That's not even nerve. They don't have any nerves. They're all liars over there. They're all weak. So you can't say there's nerves. But they kept in and say, this is Elijah Muhammad's teaching. And that's a goddamn lie. A goddamn lie. Say that again, it's a goddamn lie. They're not teaching Elijah Muhammad's teaching. I was there. They're not secondhand stuff. I was there. I was there in Chicago from 1975. I wasn't just FYC on papers, right? I was a former Muhammad Street newspaper, night shift, third shift. See? My wife, she ran Elijah Muhammad's MGT shop. Where he sold dresses and all that kind of stuff for the MGT. You know? She had been to his house. She had talked to him. See? Her brother was a minister in Peoria. So I was there. Only thing they tried to get me to be a minister, I didn't want to be a minister. Because I'm not a personable type person. I don't particularly like dealing with people. Not that I don't like people. I'm just hermit. I just, you know. So they tell you that they're teaching Elijah Muhammad's teaching. They tell a goddamn lie. They pick and choose little things here and there. But Elijah Muhammad said we'd be fools to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. We got the tapes saying it. This ain't something somebody I'm just saying my memory. We got the tapes. I'll play them anytime you want. See? And no, we ain't going nowhere. See, I had some one Negro butt, right? Hey man, he didn't say that. He says, and then I played tape, and then he got mad. Blackman says, I played tape, and he got mad. See? Because he want to hold on Farrakhan no matter what. Especially the demons, he had no choice. So we're going to move on to this, brother. Like I said, 13-part series, and we're going to cover Apocalypse from one end to another. This is the third, part 3. Part 1 just gave a countdown to Apocalypse. Apocalypse hasn't started yet. It won't start to the war in the Middle East, which I calculate what happened as early as May, as late as January, as late as July 2023. I'm on record. I don't give it in archives. As early as May, that's next month, latest July. And that's going to kick off the apocalypse, which Armageddon is just one battle. There's lots of battles, and we're going to cover them. And there's some more that I'm not even mentioning. I'm giving you the major battles, okay? Hope I don't get any interruptions, brothers and sisters. We got a lot of things going on here, and if I do, I just have to stop and continue. Okay, let's go on, move on. Countdown to the apocalypse. Countdown to the apocalypse. We're talking about, brothers and sisters, and I'm taking you up to the apocalypse, which happened a couple of months. Early as May, late as July, according to my calculations, right? And then get you there, and then take you through it all the way to the end. Let's see here. This series, brother, says these are the topics we want to cover. Always the apocalypse. Give you details. Farrakhan give you all this BS, conjecture, generalization. Oh, watch the weather. You see, Armageddon's already started. America's unraveling. Never any details. And that's part of the math of deception. I'll talk about that at the end of this if we have time, right? The math of deception. I tell you, everything's mathematics, brothers and sisters. Islam is mathematics, Islam. Using math of deception against you. I told you, the devils are using mathematics against you. I showed you the mathematics of electricity. I showed you that mathematics, right? I showed you the mathematics of 5 fundamental principles of Islam, right? How they apply it. I showed you the mathematics in different forms. Now I show you the math of deception. And it's actual mathematics, brothers and sisters. It's not something that they pull out there behind and call mathematics. Like now you're talking about, well, we're electrical beings. No, we're not. We're not electrical, because they don't understand how electricity works. Or you know, it's the stir, the stat, no, that's not. We're not electrical beings, brothers and sisters. We would be burned up. We're not electrical beings. It don't work that way. We're vibrating beings, a whole different thing. But see, they don't know. So electricity is a powerful thing. We're electrical beings. If you understand if we're electrical beings, how can we be electrocuted? How we oppose electricity? If we're electrical beings, right? Then electricity, should be favorable to us. But electricity kills us. You put your hand in an electrical socket and you get electrocuted. Because we're electrical beings, we can conduct electricity. That's what electrical beings do. They conduct electricity. But we don't conduct electricity. We resist electricity. So in order to, what happens when you let, well, I shouldn't go into detail, but it says electricity is basically, I don't know, I make this try as simple as possible, brothers and sisters. Say for instance, you got a bunch of people, right? A line of people, 100 people, they're all lined up. And every one of them has to have a basic basketball in their hand, has to have it. Because if you're caught out of basketball in your hand, right, you get shot. Right? Somebody takes the basketball away from one of them. You know he's about to get shot. What are you going to do? He's going to snatch the basketball from another person. And they're going to do the same thing. So I got a current. That's electrical current. See? And if you take two basketballs, the current go faster. Because everybody snatch it because they don't want to get shot. Snap this guy, so he got snatched. If you take three, they get turned and get more. Electricity power increases, right? That's electricity. That's electricity work. Our bodies don't work like that. Our bodies don't work like that. Not at all. See? But that's what they so ignorant. They're trying to wax mathematical when they had no mathematics. Our bodies don't work like that. If it worked like that, you'd burn up. That's why when you get electrical current, it burns you up. Because what happens is, if they put electrical current in you, what happens? Okay, when you go and put your hand in a socket, right? It snatches electrons away from you. That's why you get electrocuted. So it does. Your body is the same thing as that people in that line, right? So now they start snatching electrons from one part of your body to another, next to it, because now you're throwing your body out of whack. And the point is, the electrons that hold your molecules together. So if you start pulling away, your molecules start coming apart. That's why you get burned. Electrical burns and things. Because if they pull electricity away from you, your skin comes unraveled. That's why you have a big scar there. I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. The dumbass people, oh man, I'll be glad when they're gone. See, I'm patient, but I ain't that damn patient. You read about Jonah. Jonah wasn't patient at all. He said, Master, what you waiting for? What are you waiting for? He said, no, man, he's merciful. He said, no, I want to wait. Give him a little more time. Because there's 120,000 on the right here from their left. I'm going to give him a little more time. Right? Because that's his baby. Elijah Muhammad follows his baby. He. Oh, what's going on here? Having trouble here. Okay, anyway. Let's see. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Always a little technical. Always trying to stop this truth, brothers and sisters. Easy for them to put the sun out. Get out, brothers and sisters. Get out. Get out. That's the message to you. Before apocalypse happened. Get out. Remember now when they closed the doors? When apocalypse hit, they're going to close these doors, brothers and sisters. And the only route you're going to have out here is in the Lamb's Book of Life. And this is a mercy to you. See? Because it said those, right? It says, how they say it? We should get the quote right. A snare. Right? A snare set for you, brothers and sisters. Right? Those set upon the earth comes as a snare. Come as a snare. What's a snare? A trap that you don't see. Then you're caught in it. And you're about to be caught in this trap. And that's why Master Muhammad had to come. Michael, you never hear him talking Michael, do you? Who else could? We're going to be delivered. And is Michael going to do it? He got to be Master Muhammad. Unless it's some other deliverer. So he had to snatch out of here. He snatches out of here, right? a time of unprecedented trouble. So we was in the trap, people say, right? It says that's the time of Jacob's trouble. He be delivered out of it. We'll be delivered out of it. And he's only going to deliver those in the Lamb's Book of Life. But I'm giving you a mercy, bro. So I'm telling you to get the hell out of here before you're trapped. Get the hell out. Get out. That's why it says, we're going to read this, bro. So it's telling you right here. It's a mercy to you, and I'm giving it to you. After I saw another angel stepping out of heaven, having authority great, and earth was lighting up out of the glory of him, he cried out in strong voice, saying, Babylon, Babylon fell. Great. That's America. She became dwelling place of demons. Demons, that means real people. Headaches and dispositions and anxieties, they don't dwell anywhere. They're conditions. These are people here. Pharaoh can tell you, oh, demons, because he's one of them. He is a demon. What's a demon? It's chaff that was sown amongst the wheat. It's the devil's seed that looks like us. Devils in black skin. Wolves in sheep clothing. Beware, you totally beware of them, right? He's one of the chief one. Louis Eugene Grounds, NY backwards. You can't make this up, brothers and sisters.
Welcome to the INJIL Radio. Welcome to the INJIL Radio. Welcome to the INJIL Radio. Welcome to the INJIL Radio.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. The judge, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the 7 seals, the crusher. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is part 2 of the apocalypse. Part 2. See here. Mm. Part 2 of the Apocalypse, brothers and sisters. Several parts to it. It's about 12, 13 parts, I believe. I intend to do, time permitting, one per weekday. It's a special I'm doing on the weekend. Part 2. I may do a redux of part 1. I've done it a couple of times, but I'm not totally satisfied because I want you to be very clear. Part 1 is very important because it leads you up to the apocalypse. Now let's get some definitions straight here, brothers and sisters. See, because, Louis Eugene Rounds, as Farrakhan, our back was Legion. See, he's applying the mathematics of deception on you. He doesn't know the mathematics of it, but he's doing it. So somebody must be writing a script for him, or whatever. Because there's a math, just because, everything they do is mathematical. They may not know the mathematics of it. But we do the mathematics. And the point is that our mathematics is driving their mathematics. And so they may not be aware of the math. People, they're not aware of the mathematics, but they're still being, like we weren't aware the mathematics was affecting us for the last 20 years, but still was affecting us. You might be aware of gravity, or gravity still will pull you down. So you can identify what Farrakhan's doing in the mathematics of deception. Perhaps I'll talk about that again at the end of this. Now, I've been talking about it quite a bit lately, and I'm gonna probably keep on bringing it up because it's very important, brothers and sisters, because you need to understand the mathematics of deception. See, we speak mathematical terms here, and if you notice, lately I'm speaking more and more mathematically to you, because eventually that's going to be the only language there is. That's the only true language there is. You say Arabic. Arabic is the grammar. The only true language, the only true religion is mathematics. But see, apocalypse. The apocalypse and Armageddon is two different things. But see, Farrakhan learned long ago, he can tell you, the people that's listening to him, he can tell them anything. He pulled crap out of his ass and say, call it honey in there. Yeah, man. At first they might say, oh man, I can't taste it. But then they got used to it now. I mean, it's honey. If he says honey, it must be honey. Because he know the people that he know his audience. He know they're either demons, idiots, or total dummies. He knows that. He knows his audience. See, agents not listening to him. They in there to keep the program going. They kind of get to satisfy him now because he was supposed to stop all this. He's supposed to neutralize everything Elijah Muhammad taught. See? And he said he would make war with the saints and overcome them. But how was he able to do that? See, the thing is, you understand, I'm trying to speak in language of vibrations now, because that gets closer to the true mathematical expression. Pressure, right? Pressure like learning the multiplication table. And vibrations like learn how to multiply. See, it gets deeper into it. First you learn one, then you go deeper. So when you get into vibration, you start multiplying, you start add, subtracting, and because pressure is pretty much add, subtraction. When you get vibration, you get the multiplication, division, you get all kinds of more complicated things. See, and the thing is, he's vibrating on the same frequency as his daddy is. Remember, his father's the devil. So he never understood what Elijah Muhammad taught anyway. He never understood anyway. And that's what makes him so effective, right? Because he's going to, see, in other words, if they had took a hypocrite, see, he's not really a hypocrite. Hypocrite would have been someone that believed, understood it, then turned away from it. But he never understood it. We can call him a hypocrite, but he's not really a hypocrite. He's just a demon. Because he never understood what Elijah Muhammad taught anyway. Because what he's saying is pretty much the way he saw it. Because he's operating on lower frequency. And when you operate on lower frequency, then you're not going to pick up the vibrations. Or, in other words, Say for instance, you got a sequence, right? Um, okay, say you got the whole sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, right? 21, whatever, right? So you got the whole sequence. But say a person on lower vibration, they can't pick up all those. So they pick up every other one. So they pick up all the odd numbers, even numbers, two, or odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7. See, they don't pick up two. They don't pick up the even numbers. They don't even hear them. They don't even know they exist. They ever say that white man can't jump, right? Okay, they don't hear those vibrations. They don't hear those musical tones. See, you think they hear them. They don't hear them. Like a colorblind person, they don't see all the colors. They only see the colors they see, and you don't know that, and they don't realize it either until they mess around, maybe get tickled. They went to. I thought, they somebody do a test and realize, hey, they don't see all those colors, and they don't see. They don't hear those because the music, our music dominates the world because it's comprehensive, but everybody's not beating and harmonizing, right, like we are because they don't hear all that. Like a dog have a dog whistle. You don't hear what he's. You don't hear dog. I mean, you can hear that whistle, but you can't. You have to understand that, brothers and sisters. We're all different people, so they don't hear all those tones and things that you hear, all the vibrations. They don't hear them all. They might have you might hear all 1 through all 21, and all they hear is the odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7. See, so Farrakhan never saw the whole thing. He saw what he saw. And that's what makes it so effective because if he was a hypocrite, he might be lying to you and everything, but he'd still be vibrating on that level of Elijah Muhammad. So he wouldn't have been that effective. See? Because he's still been vibrating. So you still be picking on vibrations, but you would just be, he'd be trying to confuse them. But still, no, he'd still be getting out the same vibrations because that's the level he's vibrating on. So he can try to confuse it and try to say something else, but he still be out vibrating. And that gets. I think too deep here for you, bro. Is that? But he's effective because he's actually vibrating on a lower level. And what he's saying in his mind, he may be absolutely true. He may actually be thinking exactly that's what Elijah Muhammad thought. Because that's what he saw. See? That's what he saw it. So he's going to translate everything in that way. Because devils ain't devils anymore. Elijah Muhammad never said anything like that, but he'll find something here that justifies that. That's what makes it so effective. So the thing is that, we can't lift them up, but they can pull us down. You can't make someone whose his frequency, his natural frequency, say 5. You can't make him a 6. That's not frequency 5. He can go down. He can't go up. He can't go higher than that. That's happened to us. We went down, right? They brought us down, but we can rise back up. That's what's thing Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel, right? He can come back up. But devils, they at their highest frequency right now. They can't go any higher. But now, people that can't go higher, now they rise to a higher frequency. Higher frequency is also greater pressure. So greater pressure destroys lower pressure. It's a mind war. I keep telling you, it's a mind war. I'm trying to get deeper and deeper and deeper into it for you brothers and sisters. And I heard a couple of sisters, they was elaborating on that. It was very good. They seem to understand it. You understand it, brothers and sisters? So he's effective because, see, he's operating that level, and so he's pulling you down with Dianetics and all this stuff. See? Sunnism, because Sunnism operating on a lower frequency too. It was effective 1,400 years ago because it raised everybody's frequency up to the level they are right now. See? But then they was overcome by devils who could operate on a higher frequency. Let me say it's clear, because maybe I should jumped into something here. For 6,000 years, we still going to be, that 6,000 year period, right? We still be under Adam's frequency. See? But Adam has to apply discipline to maintain his highest status of frequency. His highest state, say his highest state of frequency is 6, but it has discipline state, because otherwise he'll keep going back down. He needs discipline to keep up to 6 at his highest level he can attain. And every time he stops his discipline, he starts falling back down. So all problem Muhammad did is to bring the frequency of the Arabs up to the level of the devils, right? Who had fallen. See, because they was by them. Because he was above them. But if they applied discipline, they get back above them again. That's exactly what happened. Because they started discipline, started going to mathematics, they rose above them again. And the students can't do anything with them, as long as they apply their discipline. But now their discipline is slipping again. And so now they have to control themselves. That's where all this immorality, all this sexual perversion, all that kind of stuff comes in. When you can't discipline yourself, can't place your appetites, right? Then everything goes. Eat anything. If you're extremely hungry, eat anything. You can't discipline your appetites. That's what all that's about. They're losing discipline. So that's why now they're declining again. So I hope I made that clear, brothers and sisters. See, he brought them up to a level, right? To above. In other words, Rome was declining. They went to Catholicism, so their discipline was weakening, right? They didn't have to do anything. It was everything. They just pray and just call on Jesus and all that kind of stuff, right? So their discipline fell, and so that gave a room right there, right? See, they gave an opening to occupy that level. Okay, let me say it another way. Say your level of frequency for Adam was anywhere from 1 to 10, right? See, and that's frequency is his highest level. 10 is his highest level, right? So when he got maximum discipline, he can rise up to 10, but he can't go any higher than that, right? Okay, so and everybody else, because of energy deprivation, was operating on a lower level than 10. See, they had the ability to go higher, but they didn't have the energy. You need energy to maintain your frequency. And frequency is energy. When energy you have, what freaks you, if you had the ability to increase it, otherwise, right, you increase your amplitude or increase something else, but you're not increasing your frequency. So everybody else was on a lower level because they didn't have enough energy, right, to achieve any higher frequencies. So Adam, so with discipline, he could maintain a 10. He never really got to a 10, right? He got close, right? He never really got 10. He never got to his maximum maximum ability. But say he was operating at 9 or 8. Say he was operating at 8, right? And everybody else was operating down here at 6, right? But they had the ability to go higher, but then he fell. He started falling, right? That's they went to Dark Ages. That left an opening, right, for the Arabs applying discipline to move in that area right in there. Not above the 10, right? 7 or 8. Because you fell down about 5 or 4 or 5. So they could move right in that little area right there. See? And they could hold it as long as these stayed here. But if these start applying discipline again, they were above them and push them back. They'd be above them. And that's what happened. Because for 1,000 years, they was able to hold it. There was a hold them down. But then it says in the Quran, right, that wall would be broken down. So because it says Adam would be taught. He'd be taught and given discipline. And once he done that, he moved back up so Arabs had about 6, and now they moved to a 7. With their mathematics and everything else. And now they're back in control again. And what nothing the Arabs could do, because they was operating at a level of 6 or 7. And up there 8 or 9, somewhere, you understand the point, right? As long as they deal with their mathematics and discipline, they could hold it. No one could do anything about it unless they had more energy. And we were suffering energy deprivation, so we didn't have the energy to do anything. And so long as they held that discipline and everything, they could hold, and they did. They held down the whole world for 500 years. And now discipline, part of the reason why they're losing discipline because the pressure's on them, and it's hard to be disciplined when you're under a lot of pressure. See? So that's another reason why they're losing discipline. So now they're sinking down below. And now you see others like China operating a higher frequency and it's pushing them down. Everybody else is rising. But China, right? The Orient, they would be first because they operate on low frequency too, but higher frequency than them. So in other words, if you say 2 Europeans, 4 China, or say 5 Europeans, 10 China, 15 Asia, 20 Africa, and 25 us, right? See? But everybody was operating lower than 5. But now, there's enough energy to move up to 6. So that means what? The whole world is coming after America. The whole world is coming after it. That's what the whole world's coming after it. And nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it. Nothing. All they can do is try to trick you into, right, misusing your energy, self-imposed energy deprivation, not using it to increase your frequency. NFL, video games, vaping, all that stuff, drugs. But that wouldn't last for so long. Because you don't need that many to rise above it. That's what's happening, brothers and sisters, in a nutshell. Hope you understand. Okay, this here where you see lion versus bear, that's the last war of the apocalypse. The apocalypse is a comprehensive. See, Farrakhan had bothered to look it up. He don't need to look up. I say he don't need to look up this stuff because the people with him, he can say anything. He's not scripturally correct in anything. It's anything. Because the people with him are demons, right? Or idiots, right? Or just outright dummies. So that's apocalypse is destruction of this whole reality. Look up the definition, destruction of whole reality. But Armageddon is just a war during the apocalypse. It's just a war during the apocalypse. It's not a war in all wars. It's a war within there's many wars. There's a war of the latter days. There's a lot of wars. That's what we're going to talk about. We're talking about the apocalypse and all the things that's involved in the apocalypse. See, because all these things together will bring down this whole civilization. So the apocalypse, all these things together, that's going to destroy this whole reality and bring a new reality, make all things new. So Armageddon is just a battle, right? In the apocalypse. Okay, brothers, let's move on. Countdown to the apocalypse. Now, in the first one I did countdown, right? The first one I said I may go over it again. I gave you the countdown to the apocalypse. The apocalypse starts with the war in the Middle East. That's when it starts. See? And I gave the countdown to it. So now we're going to talk about the first, right? The first act, the first event that kicks off the apocalypse. See, first I did the countdown to the apocalypse. Now we're going to talk about, right, the first event of the apocalypse. That's the war in heaven, which triggers the apocalypse. Okay? Because the apocalypse hasn't started yet. First, I had to count down to it. Now, my calculations based on chapter 11 means the apocalypse will start this year between June and July. So we're near there, right? It's April, May. Within 90 days, the apocalypse will start. And when it starts, it'll be earth shaking. It won't be you have to look around and try to figure out what's going on. It'll be going on and it's going to affect the whole planet. The whole planet's going to be like the shock of the hour. The whole planet, it would touch every place on this planet. No one go untouched. I don't care how, you might be in the deepest Amazon or the darkest jungle. I don't care. Or you can be the coldest north, right? And icicles and every part of this planet can be touched. Because whole reality is coming to an end. And that's going to be the first stage of it. The war in heaven. That's Master Muhammad. He's going to trigger the apocalypse. Suleiman's prophesizing about the apocalypse. No one is prophesied about the apocalypse before they talk about Armageddon, all kind of stuff. No, Suleiman will prophesize about the apocalypse. And That's why Muhammad would take and initiate it. Sign of Jonah. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. But first, brothers and sisters, get out. Oh, that mean get out don't mean it's not going to affect you. No, get out. It's going to affect you, but you don't want to be here. Because this is sinner. This is apocalypse sinner. And you don't want to be here. You don't want to be here, brothers and sisters. When Babylon falls, this America's about to blow. You do not want to be here. You don't want to be here. If this message bothers you or you don't like the way I look or something, just get out anyway. Just take a chance. Just get out. Get be around here June and July. Don't be around. Don't be near this place. Be in Africa someplace. Don't go to Europe. Just be gone. Take vacation, anything. Okay. Because remember when 911 came up, they closed the doors. You couldn't get out of here. When they closed the doors, you ain't getting out, brothers and sisters. And you think it's going to be hell on earth here. The Bible tells you to be hell on earth. Cannibalism. You know, that's going to be cannibalism. I mean, it's total cannibalism here. It's going to be no food here. And there's no water. How do you think you get water here? Water comes through you, they pump it in. If there's no oil, there's no oil, no water. So you be drinking blood. Whose blood? Get out. Get out. So come out, get out of my people. Read it, chapter 18. After these I saw angels stepping down out of heaven, having authority great. Earth was lighting up out of the glory of him. He cried out in strong voice, saying, she fell Babylon the Great. That's talking about America. And she became dwelling place of demons. Demons, dwelling place of demons. Demons, that's real people. Spirits don't dwell and attitudes and all that kind of stuff. So that's what Farrakhan is trying to tell. He's a chief demon. A demon is the chaff that the wicked person taught in Scripture sowed amongst the wheat. That's the devil's seed he sowed in our women. Those are his children. They might have our complexion, but they're his children. They're demons, half devil, half man. That's what demon means, right? And it became a dwelling place of demons and prison. Every spirit unclean in prison, every bird unclean, have been hated because of the wine of anger fornicating her, having fallen all the nations. Who is called all the nations stumble and fall? There's only one country doing that. It's America. America's the only one that fits the prophecy of 666. They're the only one. They're the only one. They're the only one that let's get it real simple. Only one sanction everybody. Only one to sanction everybody. That's what it says. They were sanctioned. That would be their weapon. Sanction. 666. You can buy and sell. Who is doing that? You don't have to. You don't need a calculator. You don't need a computer to figure that one out, brothers and sisters. You just know these hanky preachers and all that kind of stuff. Because they're demons. They're master's children, house Negroes. That's the ones they allowed in the house. This Oprah, all these people, they live in the house. And the whole idea, they love massa. And listen to the way they talk. They hate you. Farrakhan hates you. Oh, you're so sinful. But he loved the devils. Because he's one of them. He follows the devil. See? They may have a skin tone, but they ain't us. And so, who's doing all six? Who's doing all sanctions in the world? Only one country doing it. So how could you go wrong with that one? 66 ain't, oh, you got a tattoo or something. No. You don't have to go through all that detail. That's just distraction. America is that beast. 666. If you worship America, you got the mark. If you worship America, you got the mark, 666. If you worship, let me say it again. If you worship America, oh, America, great, right? America, us. We, all this stuff, right? I'm a good American. I love America, all this stuff. Shooting the flag. You got the mark. And it said, what happened to you? See? So if that's too complex, too simple for you, that's too complicated for you, that's your problem. If you out here talking about shooting the flag, all this stuff, fighting for America, all that stuff right there, because if you're a demon, that's what you can have no choice anyway. If you then you got the mark. You got the mark. Because if you don't, right, all of a sudden you can't buy or sell nothing. They put you in jail, you're a traitor, right? They deplatform and everything else. Put sanctions on you. You see demons running, oh man, I love America and everything else. After what he did to us. So understand, brothers and sisters, if you doing all that, I'm American, got the flag, got the cross, that kind of stuff, right? Because the cross didn't free us. It didn't save us. It enslaved us. Come on, I'm saved. The cross didn't save us. It enslaved us. They did all this evil under the banner of the cross. Kill, steal, and destroy. How did this country stole it? What they do it happens at genocide. What they do is destroyed us as a people. And on the Constitution still says we 3/5 human. Now you're going to tell me, and who did it? The people was carrying the cross. They did it under the name of Jesus, carrying their cross. So you're going to tell me that's a righteous God there? And then what the hell did you don't get me started. What the problem you got with Satan then? If that's the way Jesus rolls, what problem you got with Satan? Because that's who you ruled away from Satan. Said nobody works. And the picture they give you, it says Satan will appear as an angel of light. That picture don't look anything like the Jesus that the Bible talks about. Skin is bronze. Skin look brown to me. Hair like lamb's wool. Look like lamb's wool to me. That's Satan. Masquerades as an angel of light. America 666. False Israel, Antichrist. That's simple. It's simple. And we're 144. We are the streets of Abraham. Went for 400 years of abject slavery, oppression, Holocaust, 1619, 2019. That's why he's coming all up. Theory. Let me move on, bro. Says I want to get. I'm getting kind of. I want to keep these things short because there's a whole series. I want to get through them, right? Because I'm gonna get you updates. So when this hit, in a few more days, you'll be well aware. Have thorough knowledge of what you need to do, because that's my job. You get thorough knowledge of stuff. That's why I'm revealing stuff I never revealed before, right? So you have total understand what's going on. Because see, I told you the mathematical deceit. He's the only generalities. When apocalypse hit, you're gonna realize you have no knowledge at all. So you think you got it, and then when the event happens, you're gonna find out. We might talk about that if I get around to it. You don't have no knowledge at all. That's mathematics. You said, well, okay, I'm gonna show you. It's not a trick either. See, because the one fornication had fallen all the nations. Who's calling all the nations? Who's dictating all the nations? Who's dictating all the nations? And King Earth with her committed fornication. See, King Earth represents European countries, right? And travel merchants of capitalism, right? And Earth, power, unreigned luxury of her became rich. Oh, America, the Europeans are richest on the earth, right? Who else are the richest? They claim. I mean, how can you miss this, right? And I heard other voices of heaven say, come out of our people, come out, get out, right? In order that you should not share in the sins of her and now the plagues of her. The sins of her is what she's doing, is trying to keep you from getting knowledge of self and vibrating on a frequency to overcome the gravitational vortex. That's the sin. Like I said, self-imposed energy deprivation. They putting distraction in front of you. Oh man, here's Oprah. Here's Kanye. Right. Here's videos. Here's NFL, NBA. See, here's Empire. All stuff in front of you, right? What you taking, and it's like you give a child $1 million. Child's stupid, it won't last long. He's gonna spend all over the place. One are gonna invest it, one are gonna take this and blow it. And so they tell you, you got energy now to take control. And they trying to get you to blow it, to exploit it. Do like that. Walk around naked, hair all nappy, pants, ass hanging out, right? Don't know a damn thing. Couldn't tell you how much 5 times 9 divided by 5 is without a calculator. They're doing this on purpose. It gets you to stumble into destruction. Some of you ain't stumbling, you running into it. That's what it means, there's sins. See, sin is when you go against yourself. That's what sin is. They get you to go against, but that's what happened. Remember, that's what's going on with the man in Mark. He was power because Elijah Muhammad gave him power. Nobody control him because he gave him that knowledge. Nobody control him. But he was beating against himself. He's beating himself up. He lost his mind. It took control of his mind. And who did? The demons did. They got control of his mind. He was beating himself up. He was sinning. He was blowing his power. That's what they're doing. And Farrakhan, he's the main one that got to do it. That's his whole job. But they getting pissed off him because this mess here wasn't supposed to happen. He's supposed to shut all this down. They're going to out him themselves in a minute because they getting pissed off at him. Because they gave him support and security and everything else. Oh, you think those so-called NOI over there, FOI over there was securing Farrakhan and the MGT? You think it was? No, the devils was securing Farrakhan. They got 24-hour security around him. You can't see from a background, from a distance, but some of those so-called FOI around him, they're really agents. They don't follow Elijah Muhammad. They're agents. They're forms to watch, keep eye on him, and also provide security for him. Get out, because the plagues are coming. You already hit one plague already hit you. See? That was a warning. 2020, 1619, or 2019 is 40 years, and then immediately after that will come, the plagues will start. Kill the firstborn, which is the elderly, but pass over. And the thing is, you better go check it out, brothers and sisters. It wasn't killing us. It was killing the demons. It wasn't killing us. They got you sick. But they was telling, oh man, you're dropping like flies. That was a big lie. Wait, I'm not going to, brothers and sisters, because so I say they want an excuse to keep you from getting this message. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Apocalypse 2, the second one. Remember, the first one was the timeline, right? So what's Apocalypse 2? What's that about? One heaven. That's what triggers the apocalypse. Apocalypse 1 is what leads up to the apocalypse. Apocalypse 2, right? Part 2, one heaven, what triggers the apocalypse. Because you got to lead up to it, arm it, then you got to trigger it, right? And that, based on my study and everything, based on what INJIL says, the timeline there, we can expect to happen between June and July this year. It's a couple months from now. The war in heaven. Read chapter 12, the war in heaven. See? What is that? Farrakhan said, oh, the war of Armageddon. What about this war, Farrakhan? How come you mention this one? You never mentioned this one, have you? Because you don't have no idea what it means. Okay? And occurred war in heaven, this is chapter 12, right? The Michael, that's Master Muhammad. Angels of him, that's the Shia. Those are his angels, right? What was the dragon? That's House of Sod. And Gog, Magog, and Antichrist. America, Britain, and false Israel, right? War, and they got war's about to break out right there, right? They telling you, if you watch the news, you know war's about to break out in Europe, about to break out in China, it's about to break out in the Middle East. I've been saying for 30 years that's where it's going to go down. Those three places, but I tell you, I go further than that. See, nobody even told you that 30 years. Nobody told you that 5 years ago. Even 3 years ago, nobody told you that. I've been telling you for 30 years. You got go out to YouTube. It's out there. Evidence out there. I don't have to make up. I don't get rid of my archives. But now I give you a general. I say who's going to go first and what's going to trigger the next one. How each one is going to be triggered. The first one that's going to go is the war in heaven. That's going to kick off the apocalypse, right? Now define who those in detail. Not only that war in heaven, that in chapter 12, I tell you what heaven is, who the players are in detail. Michael's Master from Muhammad, his angels, right, are the Shia. Iran is Syria. Identify them. And who's the dragon? House of Sod. Who is angels? Who, right? America, Britain, false Israel. That's the clash about to happen. I'm telling you, going more detail, I'm telling you the time frame said between June and July. This year. Now, what's going to happen in between June and July? When? One of these years going to be in June and July. That's not what's happening here, bro. Says you get in detail. I'm standing by it. See? And they failed. They couldn't win. They lost. Because Master Muhammad is in that battle. That's when he's gonna first be made. Because they're trying to say, oh, those UFOs, so-called UFOs. They was talking about last night on TV, right? Oh, they think they spy ships from other planets, from some other civilization, another part of the universe, coming in drones to check us out. No, that's Master Muhammad. He's gonna check you out in a minute. He's gonna check you all the way out. You have to explain that. He's gonna check you all the way out. Total check out, right? And they lost, and they was kicked out of heaven, Middle East. See, they kicked out of the Middle East because they have control of the Middle East right now. Who have control of the Middle East right now? America, Britain, falls Israel. They do whatever they want. They still receiving it all. They took out Iraq, right? So you got Iran surrounded, right? They bomb in Syria every 5 seconds, right? Lebanon. I mean, they control the Middle East, right? And was thrown the dragon, the great, the serpent, archaic, been called devil and Satan, to make the earth being whole, right? So that means the devil and Satan, all that stuff is dragon's angels. So now you know who the devils are. You know who Satan is. Satan's false Israel. The devil's Gog and Magog, right? So he was making everybody err. Remember Gog and Magog? That's how you know it's Gog and Magog. Because chapter 20 says they would make the whole world, call the whole world to be deceived. And they talk about them again. So now you can identify who they are talking about. That's Gog and Magog. And that means you know that that's not happening in the future, right? Because if you know this war is going to happen, right, before millennia, that means the millennia couldn't be in the future. It has to be now or in the past. See, that's another story, but so you just add subtract. See, he was thrown to earth, and then him with him was thrown. Earth represented European countries. Okay, brothers and sisters, like I said, that's what we're going to talk about as a subject. I'm just showing you angel key here, brothers and sisters. That's what it looks like I explained before. If you got a puzzle and they keep changing the picture on you, if you understand how the puzzle works, you don't care about the picture because you can always put the puzzle back together once you understand it, learn it. See, so what happens is that's the puzzle. That's the key. And every chapter they change it. We do and you got to understand how where everything fits, and then you can decipher out what they're talking about. That's the key. Anyway, so we'll go through this. Said, I'm just going through this a couple of times, bro, because I want you to get up to understand how we got to. The reason I'm emphasizing this in this case, because I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna use this all through the whole series, right? But here I'm focusing on this because, right, we're talking about what this leads to. So I'm gonna talk briefly. I'm not gonna go to read all the stuff here, right? I'm just gonna talk. I'm not gonna read all the stuff on the right. You can read at your leisure. What happened is 1948. See, it says those witnesses, that's Syria and Iran, they're two witnesses. Farrakhan trying to say that's Elijah and him. Oh boy. Anyway, they would be witnesses 42 years. That means 48 to 1990. And that's what happened. And then in 1990, right, the beast that rose out of the pit again, right? The beast that rose up out of the pit. Who? Out of the bottomless pit. That's chapter 20 again. So that means that had happened before this. That means it can't be the millennia unless you're saying this is going to happen after millennia. Unless you're going to say the two witnesses and all that stuff, because he said Farrakhan claims that's him and Elijah. They got other kind of things, but wherever you claim the millennia has to happen before this, because now the beast coming out of this. Remember, they was in the bottomless pit, or the abyss, what you want to call it, and they came out. So now they're coming out. It says, because it says right there, it says, well, we get to the next one, but it says, well, we see the next page, right? Let's go to the next page. See, because they're on the top there. Now, I show the key. Each group is a grouping. So the first group is European countries, but then the Islamic part is the Islamic part of it. So they're part of Islamic. They're part of the European countries, Islamic part, right? So they're on it because 3 levels. Then you got 3 levels for the Oriental, and you got 3 levels for each one, right? So they're the Islamic part. See, so now that's the Middle East. One of you call it. They also call it mid-heaven because they're between. They represent European countries, and all the rest represent heaven. So they're between mid. In chapter 19, they call it mid-heaven. Anyway, Let's move on, brothers and sisters. So here's where it says, and the wild beast stepping out of the abyss. So they don't come out of the abyss until after millennia. So that means this has to happen after they come out of the abyss. So unless you say it's going to happen to 1,000 years in the future, this already happened. That means the millennia's already passed. That means that was European history. Like I said, they was in dark age for 1,000 years. They was held down by the Islamic Empire. I mentioned at the beginning because of frequencies, whatever. They were held down for 1,000 years. And then they rose up. They got rid of Catholicism and adapted mathematics. It means they increased their frequency and they got more discipline. Because when they first came over here, they was like the Puritans and everything else. They was very disciplined and mathematical as much as they could achieve mathematics. And they got power again. And now they decline again. So that's what happened. So here, and then they'll be cast down for 24 years. See? So 1990, the war ended in 1991 actually. So after that'd be 24 years, right? So that'd be 2015, basically. Or between 2014 and 2015, Obama came along and that's when they started discussing the JCPOA. So like I said, I'm not going to, you can read that at your leisure, brothers and sisters. And so here it is, 2016, right? Up to remember, for 24 years, and then they would be, the JCPOA they started discussing it, and JCPOA came into effect in 2016. That means they'd be put on the foot of the nation because they was under the thumb of the UN. So it was on the foot of the nation. So they're on the bottom down here now. On the foot of the nation. They would be there for 3.5 years. Been there for 3.5 years. Right? From January 2019, right? But actually it's 7 years altogether because you got another 3.5 years they moving up, and altogether it'd be 7 years altogether. And Daniel talked about that in the middle of the week where the agreement would be broken when Trump broke the agreement. Anyway, the bottom line is here is that 3.5 years will take them from January 2016 to around June 2019. Right, 3.5 years. So they would be under the foot of the nations. And then during that time, Trump would break the agreement. Now, exact date, because like Daniel breaks that down, sure he wasn't exact date because he just said in the middle of the week. So that makes Daniel makes a lot of corrections. But anyway, I'm not getting that's that. I don't mean to go there, brothers and sisters. I didn't even bring Daniel into this. And then it says that could be broken, and then they start rising for 3.5 years. So it's got to be 7-year period, which will take you to January 2023. See? So negotiation, here they're negotiating, right? Because remember, during this period of time, they don't have nothing to do with America, Britain, and false Israel. They only negotiate with the Europeans. So now that's where you see them, right? In that position, it says the Spirit of God came in. You got to understand what that means, because God here is Satan, right? Falls Israel, and the demon, right? That spirit that belongs to him. That's too complicated, brothers. I'm gonna leave it there. People that study INJIL know what I'm talking about. Okay. And then it would take after they got to January 2023. He said, "Be silent in heaven for half an hour, 6 months." And there's a lot more to this I'm saying here, brothers and sisters. I'm not gonna say it all because you're looking at this fourth seal. There's silence there because all the seals he hears something, but the fourth seal don't hear anything. And it has something to do with this silence, but I'm not going to that, brothers. I'm going to keep it simple because I want to move on to the main point here. But you put the 3.5 years together, you got 7 years. So 7 years put you January 2003. Then the silence of heaven will take place. But see, I show you on the right here. I'm showing you an angel key. The top ones. And remember, the top is grouping of 3. That's where 6 wings come in. I'm not going into that kind of detail, right? You see. So the one on the top represents ears. That's part of the symbolism. The one in the middle represents hands, and the one on the bottom represents feet. I'm showing here. But during this time, the ears, right? They were on the top. But remember, now they in that position. Then in the middle, because they rising up from JCPOA, they rising up. And then in that position, right? And so in that position, right, you got the hands over the ears. Silence. I know that if you ain't studying English, you have no idea that you want to understand that at all. I want to appreciate that. Because that's what it means. Angel explains everything. So that means they're in that situation. And says they'll be in that situation for 6 months. Right? From January 2022, for about 6 months. It says about half an hour. So that means it could adjust maybe a month or two, about approximate. So I'm just going for 5 and 6 months. See? So January to February to March, April, May, June, right? July. Wait a minute, I did that right. I actually did it wrong. January to February to March, April, May, June, July. No, I'm still saying it right. June is 6 months. Oh, I see. I'm saying 6 or 7 months. Okay, I'm all good. So I'm saying it's going to be in that period of time. 6, 7 months. I mean, could be May, but we know it's going to be within that period of time, that 9-day period, right? Because it says about. That's not what's going to take. That's the what's going to trigger the apocalypse. So they're in that situation, right? That's the silence. And time will be about 6 months from January, about. So I would say, January to February, March, April, May, June, July. Most likely July, right? But we'll see. And that's when the war takes place. That triggers. That's when the war takes place. That triggers the apocalypse. And American Britain is kicked out. See? They're kicked out. Iran and Syria are victorious with Master Muhammad's help. They're victorious. American Britain are kicked out. Remember, that's what we're talking about. The dragons, angels kicked out. House of Saud is kicked out. They run back to India. Angel tells us they're not Arabs anyway, so they're really Indians. That the British put on that throne, and then they hyphenated the whole thing by calling Saudi Arabia. No, it was never called Saudi Arabia. The House of Saud took over, that the British put on the throne and promised them they would protect them on that throne as long as they kept giving them cheap oil. Yeah, you don't even know anything about that. Angel reveals that. Not even Arabs. The Indians. So they run back to India with as much money as they could take, leaving the Arabs hold the bag, right? American Britain's kicked out. False Israel is left. We're going to see in a minute. Fit on their own. Under siege. And then nuclear weapons neutralized. Won't be able to use them. They tell you that's what these planes are doing. Mass Rockman's planes are doing. They're neutralizing nuclear sites. They won't tell you to the extent because they don't want people to get nervous because America got a nuclear umbrella. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. If an umbrella got a lot of holes and it's made of paper. See, if you're in a storm, you got this big umbrella, and you don't realize it's made of paper until all of a sudden, man, it gets soggy and all of a sudden you're totally wet. But you thought you had something. See, you thought you had something. You had an umbrella, but you didn't know it was made of paper. See, soggy paper, like toilet tissue. So now it's surrounded. We see Israel. See, we see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. Who's Jerusalem? Jerusalem's capital of who? Who controls Jerusalem? It says their destruction is not. These evangelicals tell you, no, man, they're going to be redeemed. No. That's when Jesus going to come. Oh, well, Jesus going to be here. Not the one they say, because that one they showing you, he ain't got hell-ass war here. Sure, skill ain't bronze. He's going to be present, right? But Master Muhammad, he's the one that takes down Goliath, because that's who they is. It's Goliath. He takes him down. I told you about that stone. I'm not going to the Hebrews. Oh, it's so beautiful. The script's so beautiful once you understand them. See, in other words, that's what's happening here. See, we're talking about the war in heaven. So this is this part of the war in heaven. That's what we're talking about. That's the first war we're talking about. All this other stuff before that is wars and rumors of wars. Ukraine, that's a rumor of war. War, rumors of war. It's not Armageddon. It's not Armageddon. It's none of that. Just wars and rumors of wars. Farrakhan, that's so don't get distracted with that. But Farrakhan got, yeah, well, I'm guess already started. Yeah, but you're supposed to tell us before it started, not after us. What the hell we need you to tell us about things, the storm after it gets here? We can go to the Weather Channel for that. See? So they're thinking that, because the whole force Israel was set to begin with to deny us who we are. Because after Elijah Muhammad made it very clear that we're true to Abraham, he said, we can't let it be. Because that false Israel to prove that they're true to Abraham, and that we could have to be Ham, we could, that's another story. I can go off on that one for a while too. Right? So that's why they got to hold on to that lie, because if we the true seed Abraham, what does that mean about them? What does that mean? What does that mean? You understand, brothers and sisters? What does that mean? Okay, so this part of war in heaven, cast out. False Israel cast down. Unclean bird. It's destroyed. It says destruction is nigh. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know it's desolation. Destruction is near. Destruction, not redemption. It's time to flee. If you haven't fled already. That gets into another war we're going to talk about pretty soon. See? So this closes out the war in heaven. That's because American Britain's out. They cast down. See? Gog and Magog. See? And false Israel is destroyed, gone. And Shia is in control of the Middle East, all and everything. That's the war. That's the war. That's about to take place. It's going to start somewhere between June and July this year. That's the result of it. That's the war Farrakhan is telling you about. He don't know anything about it. That's the war that's going to trigger apocalypse. And so I'm going to show you a couple of things that I'll give a little teaser here about the ones coming up, right? Because the immediate effect of this, because as men's hearts be filled for fear of those things coming upon the earth, because the powers of heaven be shaken. They got to come out some place, heavens beyond the sun, moon, stars. How would they know that the powers were shaken? It's in the Middle East. And so now this has happened, and what they're going to witness, what happened to false Israel is going to be witnessed all over the world. Be witnessed all over the world. And what is that? What is that? Cannibalism. Because they're going to be using nuclear weapons, and they'll be cut off totally from food and water. It says, follow their sons, some of their father. And they have drones flying to show everybody exactly what they're doing. They're gonna be fighting, because first of all, if their nuclear arsenal is neutralized, they destroy it. Because at this time, right, everybody will be they won't see that war they had in 96, 7, all kind of stuff. That was contrived. The Arabs didn't want to win that war. They wanted to tell the public, their people, they wanted the population, right? The general population think they wanted that war. They wanted to win that war. They didn't, because they're on board with this too. They don't want us. They don't want people to think that we choose Abraham, because they know that we stay on our land. That we're going to talk about that too. We're going to take our land back. 16, 19, 29. You look at Abraham covenant. So we'll return to our land. We'll take it back. Look at how we got our land back. Stay on board with that too, because they can prove that if false Israel is one, then we can win. Because that's our land. It took them about 50,000 years ago, and we cut it with sand on our way out. See, that's another story together, brothers and sisters. You understand? So that's what's happening here. Let's hold on here, brothers and sisters. Oh, I see. Okay. Getting a little reflection here. Okay, let's move to the next one. See what it says here. And they will see signs of sun, moon, stars, and earth, distress among nations, perplexity of the roaring of display this power. And they destroyed the air forces of false Israel, American Britain, When they try to attack Iran with Air Force, matter of fact, destroy the Air Force. They can't tell the people here how they lost the Air Force. They won't tell them. They're going to make, that's part of the reason why they're going to get to Armageddon with Russia, because they're going to send Russia help Iran. And they're going to go against the Iranians, and the Iranians outnumber them by themselves by 10-1. And the Iraqis, remember, a majority of Iraqis are Shia too. They're going to be with them. And everybody's going to be with them. And even surprised some scattering countries going to be with them. I'm not going to tell you who they are right now. I would keep that to myself. That's that little stone that he had to hit Goliath in the head. You understand? So everybody's going to be against them. See? But right now, it's going to be a moment of perplexity. Oh, man, what the hell happened here? And then when they realize, oh, the bully is stumbling. Let's make sure he falls and never get up again. And a roar and it's perplexity, and the roaring of the seas and the waves. See, you understand the seas represents the goat. They're roaring. They're roaring. Because remember, the goat was angry at America. They're roaring now. See, roaring. Because that means they got trouble over in China now. Got China over there, right? Because when they lose this war over there, now they got, hey man, these people couldn't win that. And then nuclear weapons didn't work. All of a sudden, China roaring. The goat and the ram over here in trouble. See? And man's heart's failing for fear of the expectation of things coming upon earth. The powers of heaven be shaken. See? So now, I'm saying, because now people see what happened there, and their hearts are failing. If their hearts are failing in anticipation, what's their hearts going to do when it actually comes? Men's hearts failing from fear of the expectation of things that's coming upon earth, that things going to come into America, because they see what happened over there, especially with false Israel, the cannibals and everything else. They know it's coming here. Famine, everything is coming here. Their hearts failing in expectation of it. What it's going to do when it gets here? See? For the powers of heaven is shaken, because America lost. America, being the false Israel, lost. It was shaken. That shouldn't have happened. Right? And they will see the Son of Man come in a cloud with great power and glory. But when these things begin to take place, straight up lift your head, because your redemption is drawing near. See, apocalypse, the person, apocalypse leads to Armageddon, which is the purpose of it. Take us home. Get us out of here. That's no story, bosses. I'm not going to go there. And this is the expectation of that war. Oil. Now, Europe is totally dependent upon Middle East oil. They were dependent on Russian oil, but now because of America's BS, right? They don't have access to Russian oil. So only oil they have is European oil. And now America's dependent upon that also, because they capped most of their wells. In addition to that, they got rid of their strategic reserves, strategic oil reserves, right? Strategic petroleum reserves, SPR. So they don't have any backup, any reserves. And so if all is totally cut off in the Middle East, that's going to cause an economic crisis here. It's going to cause a fuel crisis here, right? And everything here runs off of oil. The electricity, everything, all of it runs off of that. So if they don't have none, that means they ain't going to get no water, because they can't pump water to you. You ain't be able to buy food because they can't afford to get the food from the farm to processors, from there to the warehouses, right? From the warehouse to you. If they could, the oil price, what, $100 a gallon or whatever? How much the egg gonna cost? $1,000? You ain't gonna be able to afford it. It says bird manure would be an astronomical price, because that's all they can find to eat. And it says a donkey's head would be astronomical price. How much food's on a donkey's head? That's how bad it's gonna be. Then they're gonna throw the money in the streets. This is an aspect of this war. This is one of the first aspects. That's what I'm talking about. This is one of the first falls out, right? Consequences of this war by losing it. So now they have total control all the Middle East. So what happens? Europe has to take, and they have to go inside Russia. Otherwise, they're going to freeze. They can't even make war. NATO and everything can't make war because they have no fuel. So you think Russia will get them fuel and make war with them? So they have to go again. And they already, you see it already happening right now. France and everybody else, they start turning against America. They have to go against America, to survive. They have oil for their population. And their population ain't going to have no problem with that. Because it says, man, you better get that oil over here so we can start starving and we freeze and everything else. So they can betray America, and all Europe is going to be on Russia's side. That means all America's installations over there is going to be under attack. All the military. That means they got to run to rescue. That's Armageddon. Armageddon East. Okay. Now Armageddon West, right? Because it's two Armageddons. You need to understand that Armageddon West, it'll be between the demons and that's another war. But I'm not going into detail here. But that's over here in the West, because there's going to be a total economic collapse, and no food, no water. It says they're going to drink. It says God going to give them blood to drink and flesh to eat, flesh their children eat. That's what's going to be. So they're going to tear this country apart. The demons are going to tear this country apart. They're going to tear it apart. They're going to burn down the cities and everything else. It's going to be a total war here. Sword within and sword without. That's Armageddon West, Armageddon East. They'll be torn apart over there because all their friends betrayed them. They're trying to protect their bases. They got thousands, maybe 100,000 troops over there in Europe. They're under attack. Try to defend them. See, that's what happened there. And over here, what's happening here is a total economic collapse. And now you got cannibalism, wholesale cannibalism war. So, and here what it says, and during this time, I'm just showing you the impact of this war. See, it's leading to the next war. I'm giving you little highlights of what's coming, but this is what impact this was going to lead to other things. So look at Malachi. I said, my messenger you prepared a way before me. The Lord whom you seek shall surely come to his temple, the messenger of the covenant, right? Whom you should delight in. Behold, he come and said, Lord, host. But who may abide the day of his coming? Who shall stand when he appears? For it's like a refiner's fire, and like full of soap. He shall sit as a refiner and purify the silver, shall as purify the sons of Levi. See, Elijah was a Levite. He raised Levites. Suleiman would raise Lazarus, right? Shabazz. And pure them as gold and silver, and they shall offer the Lord offerings in righteousness. They shall and shall offer to Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant to the Lord as in days of old, in ancient years. And I will come near to you in judgment. I'll be a swift witness against whatever, right? So in other words, that's the time, during this time, that's consequences war also. That's consequences war also. See? Clean up, take over, the kicking out of the demons, taking over Nation of Islam and clean it up. Because who you clean up from? You clean up Elijah's mess? I say Elijah made a mess, or you treat the one that came after Elijah. And he would, see, understand that? Okay, let's move on. And there, see, this backs up right here. It says, I heard a great voice saying, right now becoming salvation, the power of the kingdom of God, of Christ. And remember, this is consequence of the war. This is chapter 12 again. Because withdrawing the accuser of the brother of us, accusing him night, citing the God of us day and night. That's Farrakhan always accusing black folks. Oh man, y'all so sinful. Y'all sinful. Remember? But he's always kissing, loving devils. But he all black. Y'all so sinful. Y'all so wicked. Y'all deserve it. The reason why he don't talk to Abraham a covenant, the reward part, because he said we don't deserve reward, because we're so sinful, we ain't listen to him. So he's cast down. That's the consequences of war. That's one of the consequences of war. We don't go into more detail. We get further into the wars. But I'm just showing you the immediate consequence of the war in heaven. See? There you go. There you go. See? Cast down. That's what it said. When thrones are cast down, ancient of days just set. See? He's running. See? Here you go right here. There's a consequence, all these consequences. I've held the thrones will place and one, it says cast down, that should be the best translation, was cast down. And the one ancient day just set. His raiment was white as snow and hair like pure wool. That's not Farrakhan doing have hair like wool, full hair, but like Farrakhan doesn't have hair like wool, lambs like wool, nor does Master Muhammad. So they can't be son of man. They don't have hair like that. His throne was fiery flames and wheels sit there burning fire. See, the wheel doesn't have flat flames come out of it. See, but anyway, that's another story. I'm just showing you. I'm just giving you a glimpse of what to the effect, right, of this war, the immediate effects that's going to kick into Armageddon, everything else, cannibalism. There'll be no food. No food at all, none. Maybe for a few days, there will be no food at all. And be no water. See? So I'm just giving you some highlights, brothers and sisters, what to expect. And this is the time, the separation of the chaff and the wheat. That's the resurrection of our people. Because right now, the resurrection of Lazarus, part of the resurrection, we confused because we mixed in with the saints and the demons are mixed in together. The chaff and the wheat are mixed in together. So we confusing each other, going different wavelengths, different vibrations. And that's what Suman was separating. That's what you saw in Daniel, where the eagle was plucked up off that lion. You also see in Mark where the guy's mind back, whatever. But this is what happens here. And now you got two armies. You got the demon army, that's the locusts they're talking about, right? We're going to talk about that. That's the demon. I'm not talking about it here. That's the war. And then you got 17 million. That's the great army. It says, Ezekiel says they come together as a great army, the resurrection. All this is a direct consequence of that war. So I'm just showing that, brothers and sisters. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it there. Okay, I'm not going to go into this, brothers. I've talked about it quite a bit. Right. Except to say, this gets back to about the umbrella that's made of paper, right? So I'm not going to go into it, but I already talked, look at my previous ones, right? So I'm not going to it. Well, let me go down a couple of things and just close this out. See, because I have to take a look at this explanation here. But basically, this is the mathematics of deception, because you have details. See, the best way to deceive is a mixed truth with falsehood. So when you get generalization, that's another way to deceive people. A generalization, so to make people think that you know what to talk about. So I watched the weather. Armageddon's already started, but never any details. I'm giving excruciating detail. I give you a lot of excruciating details here. So you got two different things. So you have an equation like that. See, this equation on the left, the right, left. The one on the left is summary, but the one on the right is detail. And they're equal. They're equal. Say, well, they're equal. Well, okay, what's the problem then? They are totally equal. So let's go through this quickly, brothers and sisters, right? So the X right there is talking about, you have to put it in context, right? X represents the current time, and T is the time of the event. So say the time of the event is the beginning of that war. The event leading up to that, the event that happens is the war. But X is current time leading up to the war, right? Okay, so say the war is 3 years from now, 2000. Well, say it was 3 years from now, right? Or 3 months from now, right? See, so you put one in there, and what you got? Put one here, and both of them turns out to equal 4. Both of them got something. Both know. Both. Hey, you got details about Armageddon. You have fire content. Hey, so you know what Armageddon is going to be. You got some generalizations, but you get details on the right side. On the left side, right, you get generalizations. So you think you got some, man, it's going to be a war. It's going to fire, so you got the generalizations. So you think you're good. And then year 2 comes in, next year, got second month close to it, right? And you still got more generalizations, right? Watch the weather and stuff. So, hey, man, the weather, see? But you get more detail on the one on the right. Because he did detail. You put 2 in here. So it's still equal. They both equal 5. What happens when the event happens? Put 3 in there. Then the one on the right, detail, he got something. He got what? He got 6. And with the one on the left, he got nothing. He didn't know anything. He thought he had something he knew. Now you're right in the middle of it. Or you know Armageddon and what's weather, but what you do? You have no knowledge, you have anything. See? That's the mathematics. That's the way the mathematics works. So you have nothing. This is not a trick. Do the math, brothers and sisters. That's the mathematics of deception. So you thought you had something leading up to it until what? Bam. Then you got to the event and you had nothing. Now, Armageddon, what I do is the weather. Yeah, it's bad. What I do? But the one on the right, use details. Oh, this, I know who this is. I know where I should go. I know what I should do. See? And And then what happens next year? If you survive it, then both of you got something again. But see, both of you have knowledge, third knowledge of what happened, but one's in hell and one's in heaven. both of you have third knowledge now. One's in hell and one's in heaven. Both of you got knowledge now. See? But one's in hell and one's in heaven. See? Because people go to hell, they're gonna know who God is, angels, everything, ain't they? They're gonna know who the devil is and everything else when they get there. They're gonna know exactly, but they ain't gonna do them any good. You understand? That's the mathematics of deception. Do the math. That's not a trick, brothers and sisters. That's the mathematics of it. And here I'll just go to Here I just go through step by step. Right? So you can see. Year 1, year 2, year 3, boom. Okay? We're going to understand, brothers, so we're going to leave it there. We're going to leave it there, brothers and sisters.